So episode 6 of Blue Planet 2 is called Coasts, and this episode opens up with Olive Ridley sea turtles off the coast of Costa Rica. So all these sea turtles come to the shores of Costa Rica to lay their eggs. The shots of the sea turtles are fantastic in the water and out. The shots of the turtles in the water are absolutely amazing. The shots on land are amazing as well. It's all like a drone footage of them from above. I hadn't really seen that before this series. I think you usually see them, on the ground, digging their nests and then laying their eggs. We didn't get any of that this time. It was just them from above. And I think that was great. It was a really unique perspective. And I think turtles are a really good way of introducing this episode, because when we think of animals that live in the sea but also have to go to land, we do think of turtles, I think. Then we go to the Galapagos and we see Galapagos sea lions. And we see this one male sea lion, he's going out to try and catch some fish, and we see that what he's actually after is tuna. So tuna is not an animal that I think I or anyone else expected sea lions to be able to tackle. They're quite big, it's quite a big, meal for a sea lion. And we see this one male, he basically lures them in to the cove and tries to cut them off, but they manage to get around him. So he goes off, brings in the troops, and through working together, they're able to bring the tuna in, and each of them are able to grab one. It's quite a good sequence. It's a really strong sequence, actually. It's something that I didn't expect to see. I don't think anyone expected to see it, and it's just really cool. I think we tend to take sea lions for granted quite a lot, because I think when we think of them, we generally think of them as getting killed by orcas. We don't think of them as being competent predators in their own right. And I think this really did a good job of actually showing you how good sea lions are, how clever they are as well. And I think it's probably the best sea lion footage we've ever had. And then we go to rock pools. So rock pools are obviously quite familiar to most of us. If you've ever lived on the coast or somewhere that is near the coast, then you've probably been rock pooling at some point in your life. It's just like a rite of passage. And showing you the ins and outs of the rock pool, showing you the time lapse to show you the dramas that go on there are quite cool. The enemies grabbing everything that they can and eating them. The stuff with the limpets and the starfish I think was the best part, because the starfish looks massive compared to the limpets. Something this series has done very well throughout is to demonstrate comparative size very well. Focusing on the limpets with the starfish ominously coming in the background, looking massive by comparison, did a really good job of putting you in the limpets world. And I think that's something that's been done very well throughout the series, whether it be with the spider crabs and the stingrays, or with the whale sharks, or the cuttlefish and the crabs. And we see the starfish comes in, and it basically engulfs these limpets. There doesn't look like there's anything they can do, but the limpets have kind of got a few tricks up their sleeve. They've got this membrane that they can extrude to basically allow them to slide from underneath the starfish, and some of them have even got wee worms that bite the starfish as well. Then we see the Sally Lightfoot crabs. They basically eat seaweed, and to get to the seaweed, they have to hop across the rocks because they don't like the water. This sequence is very comparable to the stuff with the wildebeest and the Masai Mara that we see a lot of the time. We see them having to cross bodies of water which are full of predators. So we see moray eels jump out to get them. They're almost like crocodiles in a way, the way they portray them, and they were really good as well. They really made the moray eels seem quite scary, the way they just jump out and catch the crabs, even the way they come out the water and just slither across the land, almost like a snake. That was really cool as well. And the octopus as well, of course, there's octopus. I feel like sea turtles and octopus have featured in pretty much every episode that they could feature in this series. They're just everywhere, and they're able to basically jump across or kind of paddle across the water to get to the seaweed, and you do feel like, they've earned it by the end. And then we see puffins. So puffins are always endearing, everyone likes puffins. We do kind of highlight the family bond between the puffins. Amber says, this is a father, this is his mate, this is their puffling. We even see a weird neighbour come along, and the two puffins are kind of reaffirming their bond, and there's that one puffin that just walks over and just kind of stares at them. I found that quite funny. And then we see the puffins going out to catch the sand eels. We do highlight the other seabirds as well. I think we get a good look at them under the water, like guillemots, razorbills. We don't really see them underwater quite a lot, so I think that's quite cool. And as the puffins are coming back, they are beset by skuas. The skuas are basically harassing them for their sand eels. I feel like we see quite a lot, especially things like skuas or gulls or frigate birds harassing other birds and stealing their catches. But as the sequence went on, it got really thrilling. That is really cool. It's really prolonged. You get a lot of great shots of the skuas just going after the puffins, and the puffins trying to outmaneuver them on the wing. It's really cool. And when these puffins get back, you do feel like it's earned it again. Much like the crabs, you're kind of like, right, I need them to succeed. And then when they do, it feels really cool. So yeah, I really like that sequence as well. Again, puffins, I like puffins. I think everyone does. So I think this is a good sequence. And then we see the Pacific leaping baleine, which is the most terrestrial fish in the world apparently. And they basically live entirely out the water. They're kind of like mud skippers, but more terrestrial somehow. And we see this one male, he's trying to attract the females. So he basically turns himself black and puts his orange fin on display and wiggles it about for them. That's not an innuendo, by the way. And it's kind of funny. This is the funniest sequence of the episode, I think. Especially when the male's, flapping about and the females just kind of look up at him. Great stuff. And he manages to entice the females into his little cave where they lay their eggs and he fertilises them. It's all good stuff. Then we move to South Georgia, where we follow king penguins, and the penguins are trying to get back to their colony, but to do so, they have to get past this massive wall of elephant seal. This is a sequence, again, I've seen before. It kind of highlights two things I've seen before, which is penguins trying to get back to their colony and elephant seals fighting. It's fine, it is quite good. I think the elephant seal fight was good, but I couldn't help but compare it to the one in Blue Planet. And I think that was better. I actually think this is the only episode that doesn't improve on the original Blue Planet, personally. I think I do really like the Coast episode in Blue Planet, and I do prefer it to this one. And when the penguins do get back, it's nice. And we see that when they molt, they basically just stand still until their feathers have been renewed. That was something I didn't know. The penguins are all molted and they're able to go back to the water. They did use a lot of shots from Frozen Planet. It was quite noticeable, as not only because the shots are quite iconic from Frozen Planet, but also because the definition changes, the quality of the video changes quite a bit. So that was something I did notice that. It always bothers me a little bit, it takes me out a little bit. And we end the episode by talking about how coastlines are pretty inhabited now. There's a lot of people live on coastlines. Most of our major cities are on the coast. So a lot of animals that live on the coast are having to deal with us. And we see this massive gathering of sharks. It's the largest gathering of coastal sharks in the world. I think it was off Miami, they said. And they're basically all there. They don't really explain why they're there. They just say that they're there. And because they're so close to humans, I mean, the sharks are swimming in the shallows and there's people just having a dip. So it kind of shows the adjustment that a lot of animals have to make. It's not particularly emotional, but it does, hit home, I think. And then we have the diaries, which was all about the people filming the sea lions and the tuna, which was probably the best bit of the footage in the episode. And again, I liked that. I liked how it felt like they were winging it a lot of the time. It was basically anecdotal that they discovered this at all. This cameraman, his friend, told him about this, and he thought, that can't be real. Saw it and was like, okay, yeah, it's real. And I also like the inclusion of the Galapagos sharks, because they seemed quite intimidating. The fact that it stole a tuna from a sea lion, and the sea lion goes in a bit of a huff, that's quite funny. And the guys are in the water with the sharks, they're wearing chainmail, and these things, while they're not that big, they're big enough where they could do some damage. So I thought that was really cool as well. So yeah, that sequence again I liked as well. So yeah, this episode, very good. Again, another good episode. Just because I don't think it was as good as the Coast episode in Blue Planet doesn't mean to say it's not a very good episode. The highlight for me was the sea lions and the tuna. I also like the crabs and the puffins quite a bit. So yeah, what were your highlights? Let me know in the comments below. I will be doing the final episode next week, which is the kind of environmental one. I haven't actually rewatched the episode since I first watched it in 2017, so that'll be interesting. And yeah, feel free to like, comment and subscribe, or don't if you don't want to, that's fine. And yeah, see you next week and goodbye.